And I'm like hearing lots of good things about what's happening with your vision, how you see pieces coming alive. But I feel like, and you can chime in, I feel like if it's more concentrated and you have very, very concrete, I want 12 traits, and I don't see why not. If you have, there are 12 traits and mindsets that you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just picking 12 as an arbitrary thing, but I feel like you have pieces that you are hitting and you're seeing results. But what I would love to see is this vision that you started with. I want to see it expanded. I want to see it more concrete, and I don't want you to say oh, I never knew they would get to this point. I want you to have a clear idea. Sky's the limit. What?
Yeah.
Right. Literally, sky's the limit. I want you to just stretch your brain and just really think, what would leadership look like in my second graders at the end of the year, if it's to the point that I felt it was going to transform their lives, and have a way to measure it. This is what I want you and I to get to work towards, because like you said, great things are happening. You have great anecdotal evidence of leadership happening, support happening, and scholarly behavior happening. But I don't want you to be surprised by the results. I want you to have a benchmark.
Right.
And I want you to be driving towards it purposely. So, I mean, you are, but I feel like you're doing lots of different things, but
have one definite path.
Well, I feel like I want it to be I want you to have it captured somewhere.
Right.
So that you're making sure you hit all of it for all 22.
Right, 21.
21, for all 21. And so I just like the academic piece, like you said, the vision piece, the traits and mindsets it seems to be progressing in a much better way than the academic piece. But I would say even the vision piece can be pushed further by having benchmarks and by having a measurable end, literally what will they do, what will they say, how can I measure this? And I'm thinking, we can work through this. I feel like I want to do this in a subsequent meeting, but a simple rubric or something to be able to gauge, do every one of my 21 students hit this mark?
Okay.
Because I feel like, from what you're saying, they're there, but I want you to be sure that they're hitting the highest exemplification possible of what you want to see in terms of leadership from your second graders.
Right.
Because I think that is phenomenal, but I feel like I want you to do some more thinking around it, because I think you can accomplish it. I mean, I don't think there's anything you cannot accomplish with your kids. And so I want you to take those traits and mindsets, those pathways to opportunities, because you have something mentioned here that involves parents.
Yes.
I want there to be a measurable benchmark.
I think even, I'm sorry, refreshing. My parents already, oh my gosh, I mean, I think, and I don't think, I know for a fact I cannot say this for every parent who has a child in the school, but my parents are so invested in my theme, because I can say, and with great confidence, that I have done a very, very good job of making sure that my goal for my classroom and for their students and my vision and them coming in and seeing what I'm doing makes sense to them, so that it makes sense at home when they convey it to their kids. And I have my parents so invested in my idea that, with this thing, I couldn't get it in, and I had parents who were volunteering to come and get it in the classroom, and they knew that would mean, and for me to convey that investment to parents is not the same as I would do it to my children. So I told them, this is a fantastic thing that I have. It will give me the added opportunity to have more concentrated one-on-one time with groups, while I have, one group over there, I can have another group with me, and they are so... They were all about it.
Yeah, they're invested in your classroom, and I think that is incredible, and that is a powerful tool. And what you have here about the parents knowing how to navigate educational pursuits for their students, like, I see this as the thing that is truly a pathway to opportunities, because you are, in essence, one of your goals is to educate parents and to say, like, this is what you should, like, demand for your students, like, after my classroom, because your kids are gonna get what they need while they're with you. You're gonna push them. But I, like, this goal that you have in terms of bringing parents into the mix to be able to know what opportunities there are, I feel like it's going to require, like, research on your part. It's going to require sharing on the parents' part. And I would love for you to have a way to say, of my 21 parents, by December I want to have 14 of them who have a clear understanding of what should happen in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, so that they can be aware and, like, have, like, a clear understanding of what they want to push or demand for their students. So I want you to flesh this out more. Like, you have the investment, that you've got to run with that and say, like, they are invested in me and the impact I'm having on their kids' lives. They're invested in the classroom. But I want you to run with that and say, like, I've got them. Now what can I impart on them that's going to ensure that they are taking XYZ steps for their child? You know? So I feel like, again, like, you have such a strong foundation of investment. Now is to take it to the next level and make sure that of those 21, all 21 get to these benchmarks and reach these goals. So again, I don't want to, like, harp on it too much, but I feel like I want to create with you at a meeting benchmarks for these pathways and benchmarks for these traits and mindsets, and get them all fleshed out. Because I feel like some of them are living up here in your head and it's coming out in your execution, but I want it to be somewhere on paper so that you can make sure you have all 21 kids getting to that phenomenal place. Like, you said you didn't expect them to be here. Okay, great. Let's, like, just like, I don't know, it's so exciting to imagine where they can be, but I don't want it just to be something that lives in our minds. I want you to, like, literally write it out on paper, like, this is what my kids will be doing and will be saying and will be able to explain as they relate to these traits, so that I can see that they actually have them. So we're going to, as a next step, like, set up a meeting to discuss what that would look like, to create benchmarks around all of your traits that you have, and also your pathways to opportunities, because, again, you're on the path to transformational classroom. But I want to make sure that your goals are concrete and you're, like, really driving towards something very specific. You're having success doing it in a general way right now, but if it's measurable, then just imagine the impact.
Definitely. And it helps to get it down.
So we're going to make some measurable benchmarks, you know, and you can tell me you want something middle of the year and end of the year as well, and what that will look like. But we're going to, one of the next steps is going to be measurable benchmarks for your traits and mindsets and your pathways to opportunity. It's crazy. Yeah, it's in there.
Can't even tell it.
You can't even tell. It's been sawed in half.
I just wouldn't want to ride in it.
Yeah. I wouldn't either.
Alright, so we've done a lot of work with vision, and we've kind of seen part of your vision come to life with the balloon basket here in the midst of our conversation. But I'd love to shift and start thinking about the question about academics. So first, just very briefly, I know you're still working on your DRA. You've done all the San Diego Quiz. And so I know that's something that all of you here are working towards.
Yes, very much so.
Right. But I feel confident you'll get that. But what I want to talk about now is just to get a synopsis of, like, where your students stand with data. And then I want to switch the conversation, because we've already talked about a little bit with how rigorous you feel those assessments are thus far. Because I feel like that we're going to bring out a next step from that.